So I got that little red bar that says preparing to live stream the meeting, but we might already be live and people might be listening.
That's how it goes.
Because I don't know.
All right. Yeah, I'm getting upcoming right here.
Perfect. So I'm going to block that out. I'm going to put this up there, and I think we're good.
Awesome.
We're back.
All right. And this time I'll actually try and watch the top chat here.
Sure. Yeah, that was a thing, right?
Last
Sorry,
time.
Evan.
I'll say hi, everyone. Just to get it going.
All
right. So we're live. Yeah, that's what the little button here means. We are live.
We are live.
So welcome to the full 42 again. Sorry about last week. Last week, for those that don't know, I live in Texas, Houston, and we had a disaster here, a huge snow Arctic blast, I think they called it. Sounds like something you get at Dairy Queen, but yeah, it was pretty bad. We were out of power for 2 days here. Other people had it even worse, but it got to 45 degrees inside the house.
It's amazing.
Yeah. There is actually a fireplace here, but it hasn't been used in over a decade, and no wood, no way to get wood. So, it's hard to look at a fireplace and know that it should be warming me up, but it's not. So yeah, it was no power and no water for some of that as well. We still don't have water now. It's been a week. We've had water in between, but today we've been out of water as well. Texas is slowly getting back together on it. So in any case, that the worst part of it, of course, was that we didn't have an episode for 42.
Sure. I'm sure people were crying and shedding tears for not being able to see it.
Gnashing of teeth.
Yep.
So if I disappear, that's just Texas's fault.
So we're going to blame Texas for, okay, that makes sense.
I haven't been out of power for
don't jinx it.
I don't blame it. I think 4 days, so I think we'll be okay.
All right.
Boom, that's when it goes down.
That's it. Yep, just black. Yep.
I should have timed it just to turn it off to freak you out. Yeah, you'll just have to carry on. You have to go the whole hour, and we're going to try to stick to an hour. Last episode, we went to 3 hours. We got a little carried away. We're going to have to save some of that up for after Discord. We go to Discord after this in case you want to talk to us and join the conversation. We have a Discord. I don't know. Oh, we'll put it in the description, I guess, after we're done here, but then they'll miss it, won't they? The full 42 is the Discord. I don't know how to link people to it right now.
I can link it. I can do it while we're talking.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Getting all professional now.
All professional. All we are. Look, I got swag now. Like we're stepping.
Oh, yeah. You gotta stand up and show it up. Show it off.
I'm generating a new link that I'm gonna.
You can see it on your phone.
Minimize chat feature.
I gotta one up you. I gotta get a tattoo next or something.
Ooh. Oh, we're gonna go back and forth.
Yeah.
I like it.
Get it right here.
Love it. Yeah. So your fancy logo.
Nice.
On a hockey jersey, which is pretty damn sweet.
That's funny, man. They made it big too.
Yeah, it's huge.
Because if you get it on a T-shirt, it's usually just like that big, right? Kind of Green Lantern size.
So the website where I got it from, these guys, Aweo, I believe that's how they pronounce it. You generate where you want the stuff and how big it is, and center it and enlarge it, and do the colors and this black color and the orange color, like all the different styles. It was really user friendly, really cool.
Do you have to get their logo on it?
This was non-optional.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So, like, you can't pay more to have it taken off or anything?
Didn't look at it. Figured it looked a little professional. Like, I like that there's a little sponsorship thing there. I'm okay with it. Cool. But yeah, I tried to put, I think I tried to put this logo on this just to see if it would like cover it, and it didn't, which is fine. Like, totally okay with it. Super comfortable, lightweight, breathable material. sell. But yeah, really cool. So this is the first of a few things, I think.
Oh, really? Did you get something else, or you have things planned? That's great.
Mm-hmm.
I need to one up now. I need to get like a Star Trek uniform or something with the logo here. That'd be great.
That'd be great.
I don't even know if you can do that. I won't research it here, but maybe afterwards.
Yeah, there's got to be someone out there that can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Discord channel is posted in the Zoom chat. I don't know if that goes right to the YouTube chat, but we'll find out.
Oh no, I think that's just between us. You have to put it in the chat window. Yeah, the live window there.
Got it.
So we're going to talk about, just to give you a little hint, hopefully, we're going to talk about some of the games we've played. That's, where is it? Dune Imperium, Taverns of Tiefenthal. I know you have a few that you want to talk about. Some Kickstarters coming up, possibly talk about WandaVision. I assume you're caught up.
Oh, sure am.
Yeah, you have to be. Otherwise it gets spoiled like by noon time, right?
Yep.
Oh, you got Gravwell 2.0 here, so that'd be fun to talk about. But the first thing we're going to do is make guesses about each other, something we try to do. So, Mike, what is your guess about me?
So my guess has to do with Game of Thrones.
Oh, seriously? And I made that Jon Snow joke just a few minutes ago before
which made it even more important. Yep.
Funny. Okay.
I would guess if you could choose to be in one of the houses.
Oh, hold on. I have to ask before you make your guess. No. Go ahead and make your guess.
No, go ahead.
Well, I have to ask. Am I just choosing because some of the houses don't make it? So
sure.
Am I putting that into the whole thing, or just the overall idea? Like, say, season 1, where everybody's still relatively happy, and is that what we're doing?
Still trying to figure out who everybody is, right?
Yeah, I mean,
kind of like Harry Potter. Like, which house, which school would you align with?
All right. Yeah, we won't get into the grim parts of it, but yeah. Okay. So, what's your guess?
It seems like a safe guess, but I would say that if you could implant yourself into one of the houses and be like in it, I would say it would be House Stark.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe I would have agreed with you had I not lived through 45 degrees in my house 2 days in a row, because it is cold up north. I don't want to be the warden of the north anymore.
Okay.
I mean, for comfort and stuff like that, I'd rather go with what's their name? It's the one that the Scorpion came from. I can't remember what the name of it now is. They weren't one of the biggest ones, but they were all like golden armor and stuff like that. They had kind of I guess it was Arabic or Indian, Asian. Yeah, it was Arabic, more Arabic feel to them. You know what I'm talking about?
Was it Din's?
Yeah, Pedro Pascal.
Yeah.
The Scorpion. Okay. I can't remember what that house is. Anyway, they lived like in paradise, didn't they? It looked like an island. It was beautiful to look at and stuff. I don't know if I like the idea of people poisoning me by every little stuff, but that was a little twisted. But just as far as like where you live at this point, after going through what I did in Texas, I might just opt for that. Although King's Landing is pretty nice. King's Landing.
It is. But then you got to deal with all that betrayal and backstabbing and looking over your shoulder constantly.
That's true. Like, even if you're not part of the house that's ruling it, whoever is there is involved in that. Yep. Yeah, that's not good. Yeah. Oh, what was the one? It's been a while since I watched the series, and because of the last season, I try to erase some of it from my head. I'm not going negative. I'm not going to go too negative.
Stay positive.
Yeah, staying positive. But what was the one that had the old woman who was responsible for sorry, spoilers, who's responsible for poisoning Joffrey. You know what I'm talking about?
King Joffrey. What you want to talk about negative? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes, I know who you're talking about, but the name escapes me as well.
I think it has an association with a flower or something like
Yes.
that. I can't remember what it is, but that looked like a really pleasant place to live. And they seemed in a relatively like secure middle ground, because I think they controlled like all the food or something like that. They had a good solid place had they not revolted against the
Lannisters.
Lannisters, yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Definitely not the Lannisters. None of them were happy.
Nope.
No one.
Nope.
Although I could hang out with Tywin. Not Tywin. What's his name? The dwarf. Tyrion. It's been a while. It's been a while since I watched Game of Thrones. But yeah. I think I would have to pick one of the lesser cold versions at this point. I do like the more family, less stressful, less backstabbiness of it. If they could just move to a nicer place.
Sure, yeah.
Okay. I have to ask, where would you end up in there?
Stark.
Stark, where?
100% Stark.
Stark?
Yep.
Every time you go outside, you got to throw on furs.
Yeah, but we've talked about this though, right? There's only so many layers of clothes you can take off to be comfortable in the heat. At least in the cold, you can put something else on.
Right. Yeah. I mean, despite what I went through last week, I still hate the heat more than I do cold.
There you go.
Aaron's never felt that way, but still, I don't know. Like, I don't want to live in a desert or anything like that, but man, they are always looking miserable when they're outside. Put them inside, they're around big fires and stuff like that. Looks fine, but they're outside a lot. You have to be, especially.
Sure.
You know,
unless you're in quarantine, then you're not going outside at all.
Right. Well, also, they're the first ones to contend with whatever's coming across the wall.
It's true. First line of defense.
Yeah, I don't want to be the first line of defense. Not at home. I want to be relaxed at home.
Sure. But I mean, there were reasons why that stuff kind of happened, right? They would have been fine had certain things not happened.
Right. Yeah.
Unless the dragon's coming over the wall, then there's really nothing you can do about it.
Now, that is another thing. If I pick Daenerys's house, do I get to fly around with dragons?
No. Don't you have to be a Targaryen in order to?
That's what I'm saying. If I'm a Targaryen.
Oh, yeah, then yes, you'd be able to.
Although her brother was, and, well, who knows? He might have been able to fly around dragons had he been given a chance.
Her brother was a real ass.
Yeah. It was really hard to wrap my head around. This is big spoilers if you haven't watched the last season, but it was really hard to wrap my head around him not being as bad as you thought he was. You know, whenever they're like, oh, he didn't grab her and like they were in love kind of thing. Because then you're like, who could love that guy?
Yeah.
Because he was so twisted and stuff.
Yeah.
It felt like they didn't think of that until later because they portrayed him so mean and so twisted that it didn't make sense.
Right.
But all right, so yeah, that was a good one. It's funny that we were talking about Game of Thrones out of nowhere right before, or we weren't even talking about it. I just made a joke. But all right, so mine is if I were trying to guess which class you would be in classic D&D.
Ooh.
Just as a person. So to define that, okay. I think there's 10. I got them written right here just to make sure. So wizard, sorcerer, barbarian, ranger, fighter, cleric, druid, bard, monk, paladin, or rogue. That's what I'm working with. I think there's 10 of those. Yeah. So there's a lot to work through here. First of all, wizard. That's like, I don't see a lot of books behind you.
They're all in the upstairs office.
Okay. All right, well, yeah. Sorcerer, they always seem kind of jerks to me. So I'm going to take that out.
So you're saying I'm not a jerk.
I'm saying you're not a jerk. Barbarian. I could see kind of having fun with that, but it's like there's too much. What's the word? Like you're not illiterate. So I'm not going the other way of wizard, right? Ranger is really close to where I'm sitting. So because it's got some cool skills, things to consider. Plus, you're also still kind of a fighter involved in stuff. Fighters, little basic. I don't think that's you. Cleric, you don't come across as a cleric to me. Druid, I don't know. We talked about our animals earlier today and stuff, but didn't get the druid vibe from you. As far as I know, I don't even know if you play a musical instrument, so Bard is out. Maybe you do. Maybe you're awesome at it. We're going to find out. Monk, you don't come off particularly lawful. They're kind of, for me, the other jerks on the other side of the spectrum. Paladins are the other jerks on the other side of the spectrum. And then Rogue, I could see going Rogue. It's kind of Han Solo-ish. It's kind of, but I'm going to pick a Ranger.
You'd be correct.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
1 out of 10. I picked it.
Yep. So when we do True Dungeon, I am the Ranger. I gravitated right towards the Ranger. I feel that would be more my style. That was me in Halo. I always like sitting back with the sniper rifle, taking it from afar, not really getting too close to the action like a barbarian. So yeah.
Not only are you a Ranger, but you're a ranged Ranger. You don't go to 2-weapon, because there are 2-weapon fighting Rangers too.
Right. Yeah, I like the distance. I like the sharp shooting, pinpoint accuracy. That would have been my thing. That or Rogue. Right. It depends.
Man, I almost called it exactly, didn't I?
Yep.
I was in between those two. All right. Cool. Yeah.
And the only reason it would be Rogue is because of like siding with Han Solo. Like that would be in my head what it would be.
Right. I almost dismissed Rogue and I went, wait. It's kind of Han Solo. And I know I don't need to ask you which one of the characters that you enjoy the most. I imagine it's Solo, right? Or at least that class.
The human characters?
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say Han. If you give me a Wookiee as a co-pilot, I'd pick Rogue every day. There wouldn't be a question.
Right.
It's funny. I had to set up my. Go ahead.
What would Chewbacca be? Just a straight up fighter? Ranger, maybe? Because he's got skills. He's a mechanic. He's a pilot and stuff. That's more than just a fighter.
Yeah, definitely more. Not a barbarian. More like a fighter than a barbarian. I don't know about Ranger. Maybe Ranger.
Yeah. He uses a bowcaster more than he actually physically fights.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah, anyway.
Interesting.
It'd be interesting to try to put all the Star Wars characters into a D&D class.
That would be fun. Oh, that's another whole episode.
I kind of want to just play like a one-off where you take all of those characters, put them in the D&D world, and put them as a class, right?
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. I mean, it's basically fantasy in space anyway. So.
Sure. 100. Yeah, absolutely. It's funny you brought that up. I had to set up my Disney Plus account, and I didn't have to set it up, but they added a new feature where it's like who's watching, and it had Mickey Mouse. Yeah, so it had Mickey Mouse as my icon. I'm like, I'm changing that, and I went into Star Wars, and it was really difficult for me to pick between Grogu, Yoda, Chewbacca, and R2. Even BB-8 got thrown in there. I'm like, oh, what do I do?
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, between Grogu and Yoda, you just go for the cute factor. You got to go Grogu.
Of course.
But you got Han, and who else did you say? BB-8 and
BB-8, R2. So none of the no real humans were in there. I don't know if it's a likeness problem or whatever. So they were mostly all droids or stormtroopers or First Order.
You got to go Jar Jar.
Not at all.
Was he a choice?
He was not an option.
Seriously, I would have picked Jar Jar.
Nope. No. Nope.
That's who we're picking.
I gotta put him away. I'm gonna get negative in a minute. So yeah, it came down. So here, take a guess. It was Grogu, Yoda, Chewbacca, R2, and BB. And there were plenty of others, but those are the ones that I was like, oh, what do I do? Who did I pick?
You went with, I'm going to say you went classic. I'm going to say you did R2.
I did.
I'm getting good at this.
I'm impressed.
Nice. Either that or you're getting predictable.
Maybe I'm gonna have to switch shit up now. This is unacceptable. Yeah, it was a toss up between R2 and Chewbacca. I think those are my two favorites in the entire. I think that's why I was so upset that Leia bypassed Chewbacca in that moment we were talking about. Like,
yeah,
come on.
Well, then you must have really loved the moment. Spoiler for Mandalorian at the end of season 2 when R2 shows up right behind Luke.
Oh, like almost, yeah.
Oh, you're just like, oh. And only then did Grogu go, oh, and kind of walk over. Mm-hmm. And he's like, yes, those two meeting up. Awesome.
Yeah, R2's great. I love him in the Clone Wars. Every time he does the scream when he's like in trouble or something, it makes me happy. I love everything about him.
I just recently just watched episode 4 again. And, they start off the entire thing with R2 and C-3PO just bantering back and forth. Yep. It sets the whole tone of, things get serious and things get, in different ways, but they can always go back to that. And it's one of the things that I love about Star Wars is that you can have those witty, fun little moments, little things that make the smuggler smirk and, all that stuff. So, yeah, I love R2. I love the whole C-3PO R2 relationship. I was laughing watching the scene where like C-3PO is walking away with Luke after he buys him, and Red 5, bad motivator, all that. And he's like, oh, you should pick that one. He's top notch and all that stuff. And it's just like the scene later, he's like, oh man, this R2 unit's so messed up. He's like, it's like, if I was Luke, I'd be like, then why'd you tell me to get him?
Yep.
He's always messed up, going on and on.
Oh, it's great.
There's nothing but bad stuff to say about R2-D2 once the Jawas get out of sight.
Mm-hmm. It's their friendship throughout so one of the posts you put on in the Facebook group was about the friendship in Star Trek. I'd really love to see their responses to the friendship in Star Wars because there's so many of them. That's true.
You got Finn and Rey all the way through R2-D2 and C-3PO and Han and Chewie. I would guess you'd pick Han and Chewie.
I think Han and Chewie. That was my most excited moment in Solo, was to see how they met, right? Because they've been friends for forever.
Right.
So now you're getting that origin story of when Han met Chewie. Like that's like how Anakin got beat up by Obi. Like that's one of those moments you need to see. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's the whole purpose of the thing. That's the part of the origin you really care about, because they start him off being Han Solo.
Right.
Like he might not be as skilled or whatever, but he's who he's going to be at the beginning already. Yep. He's running from, authorities and laughing and woo and whatever and stuff. And you're like, all right, that's Han Solo. Yeah. So that's not really an origin of Han Solo. It's more of an origin of how he becomes the Han Solo we know at the beginning of episode 4, right?
Yeah, when we first meet him, he's talking himself out of a situation, right? He picks up the rock, he makes it look like it's a detonator. Like he's immediately in trouble and immediately trying to swindle his way out of it, which is what he does right up to the end.
Yeah. I even like that they had him doing that when what's-their-faces, the red guys showed up, episode 7, right? Yep. And he starts like talking and like, you can't talk your way out of this anymore. Like he's already pushed the line as far as possible with those guys.
Yep.
I just want to see what all of that was beforehand.
Right. Which hopefully we'll see. There's all the legend stuff.
Yeah, that'd be nice. I saw the rumor that they're thinking about another Solo movie.
Well, they signed him again. We might have talked about this. Like it's already been, he's going to be in, which makes total sense. He's going to be in Boba and he's going to be in the Lando series.
Oh yeah. Him being in Boba sounds so perfect.
Yeah.
And the Lando, yeah, of course, the Lando series. Yeah.
Yep.
That's great.
Yeah.
I love that actor. I thought he did great.
Awesome. I hope they bring him back.
So, trying to stay on track for an hour. We're already 30 minutes in.
Perfect.
People watching this later are going to get to judge us all the way through it to see if we can stick to it. So let's go ahead and jump to the next subject, which is should reviewers be negative? You and I touched on this outside of the show a few times, but I'm glad we get to talk about this at least on the show as well. And I think this came about because of I don't know if you want to bring up exactly which one or if you want to keep it general.
There have been a few reviews that have sparked my, interest in, is this really right? And I guess the one that brought it up for you and I was Tom's review of that 3-pack from Forest, Prezan, or Funko, or whatever.
The one with the ketchup and the mustard and that, yeah.
Correct.
And you and I were on two different sides of that.
Completely opposite. Yep.
But that's fine. So state your case, and I will argue it negatively.
Is this like DC is better than Marvel, and you're just gonna crap all over my hopes and dreams?
No, I won't do that. I'll just explain why I am for those negative reviews, and why you can explain why you aren't.
So it's not that I'm against them. I think if a game is bad or there's a reason to be negative, that's okay. But I also think that there's a line. So looking at it, if you think about, sure, that game is not going to be a favorite of people that play Twilight Imperium, right? Or people that play Arkham, or people that play Dune, or Cosmic Colonies. It might not be right. But to have some of those games trying to introduce like a 4 or 5-year-old into the family of gaming, like matching colors or rolling dice so they match, like there was a lot more in those, and they could be totally crappy. I haven't played them. I'm sure the components look great. I like that they mimic like the ketchup bottle and the mac and cheese box, like that, very clever. But to say that they're absolute trash and the designer should be ashamed of themselves, like there's a line there that should be, I don't know, that seems a little too, like, this game's not for everyone. And if you don't like it, great. And then I'm not saying if you don't like it, don't review it. Like, that's not what I'm saying at all. If you don't like it, great. Point out what's wrong with it, right? If it's like, I don't like the color purple, and that's why this game is garbage, like, all right, that's a little ridiculous. If the game's bad, the game's bad. And people should know, like, this is for this type of people. But I don't know if the game is, like, that for me, that was a little harsh. So I think negativity in reviews is fine. But I think that there's also a line where that should, like, I don't know, maybe not be crossed.
So I agree with you in some ways. I agree that there should be a line, but that line gets pushed back under certain circumstances. And I believe that game fell under those circumstances. So first of all, the only positive thing he did say about it was that the pieces looked kind of fun, you know, like a ketchup bottle and stuff like that. Right. But then he, in a very dismissive way, I will agree, kind of talked about what the games were. He was like, yeah, you match this, blah, 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 blah. And that's not even hyperbole. You really kind of that. And then he was just like, this is just straight up garbage, basically. I'm not quoting him or anything, but that's basically what he was doing, right? I'm totally, not only am I okay with that, but I like gave him the thumbs up next time I saw him on that review. Like I was on a podcast with him, and I think it got brought up, and I was just like, that was awesome. And the reason why is, okay, if it's a game where, you know, like you get like 3 or 4 or 5 guys, women, whoever, in a studio, like really trying to make a good game, put it together, put their hearts into it and stuff. And then someone like a reviewer gets it and dislikes it and trashes it like that. Yeah, I say that's a line that shouldn't have been crossed. You're stepping on people's like hopes and dreams and love of the industry and stuff. This was not that. This was clearly a cash grab made by a designer who I've never met personally, but other people have told me some of the other stuff that they've like tried to make and stuff like that. And it's kind of the same stuff, right? And again, I haven't played this game either, but just from the reviews of how it plays and stuff, I've made my decision that, yeah, it looks like garbage. And the reason why is because it's not adding to the industry. It's not doing anything for anyone. All it's doing is taking up space on the shelf where someone like you or me, or even like someone who's never had anything published, is trying to get their game out there. It's taking space up. And you mentioned like the kid that isn't a hobby gamer that maybe they would be if they get into it. Wouldn't you rather them play a good game that's meant for them instead of this trash? They'll play this and then they'll say, oh, games are awful, and walk away. It's a bad thing for the industry for these things to exist. So I like it when a reviewer basically calls the deck, goes, oh, this is bad for the industry. It's out of here by the sheer negativity I'm going to put out there for it. But you're right, there's a fine line. And some people might go past that line because if it's just opinion, if it's just, I don't like this kind of game and they trash it that harshly, I'd be right there with you. But there are some games, in my opinion, that when they are just made by someone who's just hired to make it, get it out there. And I've seen this from the other side of the industry. I've seen people say things like this, like, we don't care if, it gets good reviews or anything. We just have this license or we have this thing or something like that. And we got to get it out on the shelf by this time. I don't care what it is. Don't play test it. That kind of attitude, it needs to be punished by that negativity so that it doesn't happen anymore. When we already got thousands of games, there's too many games. Every publisher tells you there are way too many games out there. And every single one of these that hits a shelf is taking up the space of a good game.
I have nothing to add to that. I think you're right. Right? I would rather see our game up there than that game because you're right. That game might not be adding anything to the industry. But I think my line for that is dumping on the designers, saying that they should be embarrassed. And I don't know the designers, and I don't know what they've tried to put out there. Is it just a reiteration of Yahtzee? Whatever the case, and you could argue that there's plenty of games that have the Yahtzee mechanic in it. Was it a cash grab? Probably. I think there's a little nostalgia factor with the which piqued my interest, right? The Jello box and the ketchup bottle and the mac and cheese. Like that was cute. Nice little package. But I think to dump on the designers and say they should be embarrassed, maybe they didn't have any choice in what was going on, right? Like maybe they submitted, because I know I'm not going to say what it is, but I know that there's a game out there, if not two, that were published incorrectly, where the game physically can't be beaten because of the way it was published. And that's not what the designers intended. So is that on the designers when the designers specifically say, don't do this, this has to be fixed? And the publishing company is like, we don't care. We're just going to put it out.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, designers aren't always in charge of the games. My guess, and this is just a guess, that there was no development process. Usually what you're talking about is there's some developer in between that has made a decision that the designer didn't mean to do, right, as far as rules go and stuff like that. And it was a bad decision and it messes up the game, right? My guess is that there was no development process. There was, hey, we need you to design a thing. The design was made. They had an artist put stuff to it and sent it out the door. I've seen stuff done that way. I could be wrong. And if I am, then, I think you're right that if that was the process, and I don't know if, any reviewer that has dumped on it like that has done that homework or anything, but then yeah, I could see not attacking the designer as much as just the. Actually, I believe the publisher should be attacked because they're the ones that put it out, right? But at the same time, this is a designer-heavy industry. I mean, it's their name that goes on the front of the box with the publisher.
Not in all cases.
Not all cases. I don't even know if it is in that case, right?
Yeah.
But at least in the back of the box or in the rule book or something, your name's going on a thing, you have some responsibility with it. Maybe not all, and maybe not enough to be trashed like that. I could see that. I could agree with that.
Right. I think some of it lies on the publisher for sure. Right. I know if a Floodgate game was garbage and the development process didn't happen, then Floodgate should be responsible for not developing it properly.
I mean, you can argue that the publisher is like, that's where the buck's in because they're the one that signed it, developed it, got it out the door and said it was good to go.
Sure.
Right. So yeah, I guess it just depends on the scenario. In my mind, and I'll agree that this is all in my mind. I don't know for sure, but in my mind, it felt like there's times when kind of like non-hobby publishers basically will say, hey, we need a game, and they just grab someone like, hey, can you design a game? And they might pick somebody who's kind of a freelance designer kind of thing. And that person just makes the game to get it out the door. That happens. So that's what I thought happened here. I think I'm still right on that, but I don't know for sure. And, maybe it did, maybe it didn't. If it did, then sure, trash the designer because they know what they're doing. But if it didn't, then, it's like I said, it's a fine line. And luckily I'm not a reviewer, so I don't have to walk it.
Right. I think if that review had gone 27 seconds, right, in the beginning of it, it was like, this is trash, don't watch this, go away. And then credits rolled, fine. But like the physical dump in the garbage, okay, I get it, right? That's not the first time it's happened. There are other games that has happened too. But the belittling, I think, was a little, for me, it was just a little too much. And there are plenty of reviews. I go to them for games to learn because I don't want to read the rule book. Like, I get it. And there's so many. And it's not about, then why do it, right? If you don't like the game, don't review it. Well, that's not really the case either, right? You're right. There should be, this is bad, and this is why it's bad. But I think that for me, the line was crossed on that one. Like, that was a little too abrasive.
I could see attacking the designer being a line that shouldn't be crossed. I'd agree with that. However, I say publishers should be thrown in the trash with the game.
Sure. 100%. If that was shame on you, publisher, different story, right?
Okay. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
But yeah, I think we agree more than we initially thought we did. I think we agree more on this.
To be honest, I didn't think beyond the laughing and clapping when I saw him throw it in the trash. Like, I was like, good, get that out of here.
Right.
I didn't think about the designer being trashed, and that part I agree with.
Yeah, I just think that was a little too much.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Now, if the designers were trash bags, which, and I'm not specifically saying they are, this is a generic thing. If the designers are trash bags and they do bad things and say bad things, totally different story.
Yeah, but I wouldn't even associate that with the game. Like,
sure,
I don't think that belongs on a review of a game because people watch reviews of games to see if the game's good.
Sure.
If you go, oh, here's a game and it sucks because the designer is a Nazi or whatever it is that you have a problem with it, I'd say that, I might want to know that, but
sure.
that has no bearing on if the game itself is actually, and that's what reviewers are about, right?
Right, but that's not going to be in the review, right? I get that. The game review is on the game, but if you're asked like, why aren't you doing this game? Why aren't you reviewing that game? Oh, the designer's a trash bag. Totally different story. Like, I don't align with them. I don't think that they, yeah.
And I don't necessarily think it shouldn't be in reviews at some point if there really is a controversy about it. Just because I think that I might not do it, but I think that people should be able to make those choices for themselves, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Well, to a certain degree.
Sure.
I don't like it when someone says this person's bad, but I'm not going to tell you why. I think they call it big booking or something like that. Just don't say it then. If you don't have anything, and to tell me, then don't tell me half the stuff. So that means the review would have to go way deep into all of that stuff. Better just not to make it, I guess, at that point. I don't know.
Sure.
But in any case, yeah, I agree. There's lines that, and the product for me decides where those lines are. But I could see not trashing the designer. Yeah. I mean, even if they are a poor designer, or they're making poor choices, or they don't care about the industry, if you press on those publishers enough, then that kind of designer won't get as much work, right?
Right, or the publisher might not get as many games published because...
Right. Maybe the publisher will go, oh, maybe we should get somebody who's got, some weight in the hobby as being a good designer.
Right.
So.
And that's another thing. Why are some publishers not putting designers? Like, I guess maybe there's a reason, but why are, like, when I look at some of the boxes, I don't know who designed the game, and I feel like that's wrong as well.
Well, that's a European thing. I mean, American businesses, publishers didn't do that until recently, really. It was a European thing that they would put the designer on there. And once European games started coming over, that's when it started happening. But if you go and look at old, Fantasy Flight games and stuff like that, you won't find the designer names on them. So, yeah, I don't know why hobby games would ever do that. I think it's gone into the hobby game area so much now that everyone basically publishing for hobby games does it.
Yeah.
But, if it's a mass market game just meant to go straight to Target shelf kind of thing, I don't think those companies even know to do it.
Sure. And I don't think that the customers in those, I mean, I'm a customer of Target and I'll go in looking for games, but I don't know if they necessarily know who the top designers are, right?
Right. Yeah.
I remember it was around the holidays and someone had picked up, like, I'm just there minding my own business, and someone had picked up Ticket to Ride. And I think they mentioned to their son or daughter, well, this has to be good. It sold 10 million copies or something like that. And I was just, I'm going to talk to this person. And I was like, yeah, the designer lives in Syracuse. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, the designer is local. Like, they live in Syracuse. Oh, well, then we're definitely getting it. And they walked off and bought it. And I don't know if, I mean, the designer being from Syracuse, but I mean, his name is on there. It's pretty cool. Like, now they took that little story away. Like, yeah, this designer lives here. Like, he's from here. So
I got to congratulate you for saying something. I've kicked myself a few times. I'm an introvert. I find it really hard to talk to people, like walk up and say things to people and stuff. So I have been in that situation where I've been at a game store or even Target or something. And in fact, the last time it happened, over a year ago, obviously, but last time it happened, it was like at Target, and someone was picking up several games. And they had like Monopoly, this or something, and they also had Ticket to Ride. No, it wasn't Ticket to Ride. What was it? It was Ticket to Ride, the hobby games that are in Target today. Anyway, they had both of those, and I was just like, oh, pick Ticket to Ride. And they were like, I don't know. And they just like, let's just do the Monopoly and put Ticket back, right? And I wanted to go, hold on. I wanted to interject, but I also don't want to be the creepy guy that just comes walking up and saying, actually, well, So then I started making it like a bad thing to do in my head, and then they were gone. So I'm a poor ambassador for board games and I felt bad like this over a year ago. I still kind of feel bad about not, because whoever got that Monopoly just went, oh, another Monopoly, because it was some birthday gift or something, as opposed to going, oh, what's this? And maybe they would have gone like, I don't like board games, or maybe they would have opened it and we would have had a new person in the industry, and that's my bad. But yeah, I have a hard time walking up unsolicited and like, so I'm actually jealous that you were able to do that. I wish I had a little more of being able to do that to other people. If I'm at a convention, that's different because everybody's there for that kind of thing. But yeah, I don't know. I've always been kind of aware that I look kind of like a person you don't want to have staring at you in the back alley kind of thing. So
that's why you wear hockey jerseys. You're approachable.
maybe, yeah. I was probably wearing a Metallica shirt or something at the time, and not enough sleep got the purple under the eyes.
Sure.
What game you ought to not play, you know.
Well, to be fair though, for every opportunity where I've been like, yeah, that's a great game and you should do it, there's also those moments where I see them grabbing like Cards Against Humanity or something and be like, man, you should put that back. Like, no, get something better.
To be fair with Cards Against Humanity, it has gotten a lot of people into gaming. Maybe it's not, you know, people have different views on it and stuff like that. But I mean, like, in fact, I was at the Dice Tower, what do you call it, cruise convention.
Oh, nice segue into our next section, by the way.
In 2020, it was the last cruise I got to be on right before everything hit. And I was talking to somebody, every now and then you get people saying, what are you guys doing here with all these board games? You know, because we were wearing shirts or carrying board games with us. Mm-hmm. And the other people have no clue. They just booked a cruise. And so I started a conversation with the guy because he asked me, right? So I was like, oh, you know, there's these hobby games. He had no clue. And I started mentioning it, and I was like, I need to go outside of the hobby game. So I said, have you heard of Cards Against Humanity? He goes, oh, yeah, we play that all the time. And I used that to connect it to, it's like, have you heard of Apples to Apples? You know, the nicer version. And then, you know, it started, and he like took out a thing and like wrote down a couple of games, the gateway games I was telling him about. Who knows? He even brought his wife over and said, hey, you remember how we played this game and stuff? This guy, you know. Mm-hmm. So, you know, like it, don't like it. It has been a way to get a lot of people into games.
Yeah, sure. It's a good hook. I mean, it's easy to understand, right? It's apples to apples, just.
I mean, it's got the humor that, you know, is or isn't your bag. So, but I mean, it's successful. So,
unbelievably successful.
Speaking of cons, our next subject is favorite cons. And I told you earlier, I have kind of not a caveat, but I have not been to as many cons as a person in the industry probably should be. I've been to a lot of them, but only the same ones over and over, like Gen Con, PAX South, BGG Con, and the Dice Tower Cruise was the first Dice Tower one I've been to. You know, I'd love to go to every single one. I never understand why people in our industry complain about it. I'll work, you know, 10 hours a day doing booths. I love them.
Oh, great. Well, now we have you on record as saying that. So
I love it. I mean, they are my vacations. Other people might take other vacations, but that's what I like to do for vacation. Of course, the ones that are more laid back and play games all the time, like BGG Con or Dice Tower Cons, you know, those are the more favorites. Gen Con it's a rough one to work. I mean, that's like a 10, 12 hour day.
Yep.
At least in the beginning and ending part where you're putting up and stuff like that.
So of the ones you've been to, then which is your favorite? I feel like the cruise would be a little different than Gen Con, right? I don't know if you could put them in the same.
Yeah, the cruise isn't fair. You're on a cruise, you end up in Mexico one day. One of the guys, Breaking Games, sent me on that. I love him forever for doing it. One of the guys that works at Breaking Games lives next to Cancun. So he came by when we ended up there and like picked us up and drove us to the other side, the non-touristy part of the thing. And we went to like a really awesome Mexican restaurant on, you know, beach and stuff. Just amazing time. How do I compare that to other conventions, right? It's not really fair. It's a great convention if you're able to do it. I'm not normally able to. It's only able to do it through Breaking Games stuff. But so if I leave that one out, which isn't fair to Dice Tower, but it's the only one I've been with. been to. If I leave that one out, I Breaking Game. I mean, Board Game Geek is my favorite, just because it is that kind of one where it's 5 days of just playing games.
Right.
That's what it's all really about, right? Playing games. So even if you work the booth closes at like 6, and I think they open like at 11 or something. I mean, it's not a hard day. It's not a hard day's worth of work at all. Sit behind a booth, and it's never so crowded like Gen Con, right? You have time to talk to people. People come up and you just discuss games with them and stuff. At Gen Con, you were demoing or, driving stuff so much, running tournaments or whatever you're doing. It's constant work, but it's still, I love it. So. But yeah, it's got to be BGG. And I've been to Gen Con not working it, and it's still BGG for me because I don't think I even played a game that time.
Wow.
I mean, it's when I say I don't work it, like I show prototypes to publishers and stuff like that. I guess as a designer, you're always working it no matter what.
But you're not confined by a 20 by 20.
Right. But I mean, like BGG, people don't even. I had an appointment to meet up with someone to show them a game at BGG last time we went, which was, I guess it was 2019. And it didn't work out. They were just like, we're busy playing games. Like, it's not a business thing. And that's fine. I eventually ran into them. Like, here's the game. But it's not a heavy, it's just a laid back thing. Right? And playing games, how do you beat that?
Right.
I guess by doing it on a cruise.
Sure, yeah, you could definitely elevate it a little bit by that.
Have you been to the cruise, the Dice Tower cruise one?
I have not. Yeah.
It is nice. It was my first cruise, too.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yeah.
They're fun. Cruises are great. I've been on 2. One down in that area, in Cancun area, and one in the Alaska cruise was fantastic.
Oh, yeah. My brother went on an Alaskan cruise. Told me about it, whales and all that stuff.
Yeah, that was pretty neat.
It'll be a while before I'll face the cold like that, but we'll see.
Oh, you're scarred.
I am. It was pretty bad. When you can see your own breath in your living room, it's going to leave an impression.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
So what about you? What's your favorite con? Which ones have you been to?
Yeah, so I've been to a lot, actually. When I started going through the list, a few up in Toronto, which were great. Well done. The Origins and BGG Con, not BGG, Gen Con. The difference between them is, like you had mentioned already, Origins, you can actually talk to people, which I enjoy doing, right? You get to actually talk about the game rather than look behind the people that are demoing your game, aggravated that they're not demoing your game. Like, yeah, move along. Like, I got to talk. All right, move along. I got to talk to, like, that's just, it's not fun. It's fun. I love the people that I go to Gen Con with. It's one of the reasons, it's my highlight of Gen Con are the people that I go there for. I get to see them, which I don't get to see normally. And then in the rare moment where there's a downtime, you get to socialize and be goofy in the booth. And then when the hall shuts down, like, then it's fun, right? Because now you're hanging out with people that you don't normally see on a regular basis and get to do fun stuff like True Dungeon, like we talked about earlier. But it's a monster, where Origins is half, maybe a little bit more than half of Gen Con. You actually get to talk to people, which is fun. Still demo and still do the thing. But my favorite, and the one that I modeled QSCon after, the one here in Syracuse, was Dice Tower Con before the Dice Tower crew took it back over and made it Dice Tower East. It was still the Dice Tower and they were still involved, but the people that ran it, Patrick and Lori and Molly and Heather, they did such a great job. My first convention ever was theirs, the second one they ever did. And it was so welcoming and so inviting and so well done and so organized that it was that 5 days of just relaxing, playing games with, at the time, people I didn't know. And now they've grown to be almost family to me, and they live in Florida. Like, it was such a cool environment. And again, a lot of the stuff that they did, what spoke so well to how it should be run, that I was like, well, I want to do that at QSCon. Oh, I want to do that at QSCon too. Like, that's how it should be done. And it was just, everything about it was amazing.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the same thing with me with BGGCon is I met most of my friends in the industry. I don't know about most at this point after all this time, but a lot of them, they're like, and if I met them on Facebook or something, that's the first place we connected, you know. Start naming off pretty much everyone I've met online. If I met him in real life, was there, except for like one guy was at Gen Con. So that you have that nostalgia, that memory of like, that's where I met friends and all that stuff. So, which is good. That's what this whole industry is really about, right? Playing games 100%. With people and stuff. You know? Yep. At least other people will have other, you know, solo games, or I guess wouldn't have that same outlook. But
sure. Yeah, I think I have a close circle here in Syracuse of people that I consider friends, and other than them, outside of that circle, I have more friends outside of the state than I do because of conventions.
Same for me. Yep. Yeah. Yep. Okay, so we already broke our promise about an hour because it's 2 minutes before the hour, and we haven't talked about WandaVision, and we haven't talked about the games we mentioned. And I mentioned those up early so that we'd be locked into talking about this. So I do want to talk about this. So,
but we can move WandaVision over to Discord after, because I feel like that's going to be another half hour of what fine. The hell. Yeah.
Yeah, and we don't have to have people leave us because of spoilers. So, yeah, we'll talk about WandaVision Discord afterwards.
Cool.
I have not been watching. Okay, cool. Yeah, you get the Discord up there. So the games that we mentioned. So I guess I'll go first since I've got it up here. Is Dune Imperium. It's the last one I played. Have you heard much about this game?
I haven't. Just from you.
Do you know the universe any? About Dune and all that? Just a little bit. Mm-hmm. Well, the new movie that it's based off of hasn't come out yet. You know, 2020 messed up that. But I'll just say this: I don't like teaching games and stuff without, you know, actually playing them afterwards. So I'll just say this: that it's a worker placement game and it's a deck building game, and it's beautifully put together. And the best part about it is that there's this tension. It makes me think of kind of like Quentin Tarantino scenes. Like, you remember in Glorious Bastards, like almost every scene had this like tension where like, are they about to do this? Am I about to do this? You know, kind of thing. I felt like that the entire game, not in a stressful way, but like every single decision mattered. Every single one felt like I have to get this and I have to make sure this happens. And when it didn't happen, you still had alternatives, but you were like, okay, now I got to rethink the strategy. Like, it was really deep as far as like feeling like I was into, and I only played 2-player, but feeling like I was making every single decision for the end goal. Whereas there's a lot of games where you're like, yeah, I'll go here, until it's like the last round. And you're like, okay, now every single, this one, you can feel it all the way through. It's very excellent for me. It's one of my most positive game experiences so far.
Is it forgiving though? If turn 1 you make the wrong move or turn 2 you make the wrong move, is it forgiving?
Yeah, and I don't want to give the impression that it's not, because there's alternatives. Like if I go, okay, I have to get that spot right there, and if I don't get that spot, I lose the game. That doesn't happen. It's just like, for doing what I'm trying to do, I have to get that spot. And when it gets taken by someone else, then you have to like go, okay, I can't get that one, but maybe if I do this and I'll go out at a different route. Like, they leave that room for you to wiggle around and still make plans and stuff. It's really great. I will say that I had some trepidation learning it because I found out that there's a 2-player bot kind of thing. but it wasn't bad at all. Like I was afraid it was going to be kind of a Seven Wonder 2-player bot. I don't know if you've played the original one as 2-player.
No, not 2-player.
Yeah, you have to have like a third board and all this stuff and things happening. And it's very annoying. But instead, it's just kind of like, oh, draw a card, put a thing there. No big deal.
Oh, okay.
And we totally like, we didn't even think much about it afterwards. So it was great. Had no problem with it. But yeah, it was really good. I can't wait to play it again.
Cool. Yeah, you sold me on it. I want to look into it.
Yeah, and you don't have to know anything about the movie, and it doesn't have like story factors to it and stuff. So you're not going to get spoiled by anything. Okay. You know, nothing like that is in there. So.
Right. Neat. Cool. Sounds like solid. I like worker placement, as you know.
Yeah. Well, I will say it's very, you know how some worker placements are like, here's 20 workers, or, you know, here's get up to 6 or something like that. You start with 2 and you can earn a third one.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's very tight. It's kind of, a lot of people have been comparing it to the Arnak, I've got it over here, Tomb of Arnak, or the Lost Tombs of Arnak or something. Yeah.
Lost Ruins.
Lost Ruins, right. And I can see why, because both of those are worker placement deck builders. I do think, and this is the weird part, I do think the Arnak is technically better as far, like if you were to just tell me the mechanics, because one thing the Arnak does that I love of deck building is that when you buy a new card, you get to put it on top of your deck.
Okay.
Same thing for Tiefenthal, by the way. Yeah. So, and I love that so much better than take the card and put it in your discard pile. You won't see it for a while, if ever. Right? So it makes it feel like you're doing something right. Unfortunately, Dune puts it in your discard pile. And I thought, oh, that's a mark against it when I heard that. But you don't really feel that because it keeps it tight. It's almost like you're shuffling every 2 or 3 plays. So
yeah, as long as you're getting that discard pile to shuffle, yeah. I don't think that's bad.
Yeah, you see the cards a lot more than some deck builders, right? Like what's the one? Clank. Halfway through the game, if I get a new card, it doesn't matter. I'll never see that again.
Yep, true. And Clank's a great game. I love Clank. Clank's awesome.
Yeah, but as far as a deck builder go, it's pretty weak.
Yeah.
The game overall, it's good, but it's not my favorite. I've told you before, I think my favorite deck builder is Path of Light and Shadow.
Right, which I haven't played.
Yeah, which nobody's played. I don't know why. Yeah. It's got like best Sobel art, and I think she's also credited as a designer as well. But it's got Gilmore, John Gilmore.
Yep.
I mean, the pedigree on it is great. I just don't understand why it's not out there and all. And I'll tell people about it all the time. It's one of the best deck builders I've ever played. It's got area control. So if you like that, you know, that's really good stuff. The promoting and culling of your deck is the best part of it. So,
okay.
That's not even on our list. I don't know why I brought that up.
Oh, it's just we talked about it. I think we went a little bit more in depth into it, but it's still on. I want to say I have it. I don't know.
It's pretty easy to learn too. So.
Yeah, good.
Looks like a hefty game because there's some miniature bits and stuff like that, but it's not.
Yeah. Cool. What about Taverns behind you there?
So you played that one, right?
I have.
Yeah. So what'd you think?
I loved it.
Have you played? Okay, so when you play, if our audience doesn't know, when you play, they tell you like play at this level. Then next time you play, add this, and then add this, and that. Did you just play with everything, or did you just? Yeah. See, I wanted to see what the journey was, right? I wanted to see. So I started with mode 0, then 1, then 2. I don't think in fact, I haven't added the 5th one yet, the one with the little letters or whatever it is.
We may not have done that one. No, I think we did. I think we did play
like blue cards, and it has like little.
Yep.
I don't know what it's about, so I haven't played that mode of it, but.
So you don't like a game taking you through an initial thing and then getting into another thing?
You're bringing up the Sleeping Gods issue.
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
As I was saying, I was like, he's going to say something about that. Yeah. Well, let's talk Tiefenthal. I'll get to Sleeping Gods complaints in a minute. But
We could talk about it after on the Discord.
I don't mind talking about it here.
Oh, okay.
But Tiefenthal. So yeah, I mean, again, like I was saying, I love the idea of when you buy a card for your deck building that it goes on top of your deck.
Yep.
You're getting to experience that next turn. It's more strategic. I don't know why all deck builders don't do it.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what you're going to get it with. If you buy this card and you get this other card, I know those two things are happening. I can make decisions. It's more interesting.
Mm-hmm. And you're relying on the luck of the deck to give you it. Yeah.
I feel like anybody who makes the new card go into the discard pile has to now defend that decision to me after seeing what it's like to go on top of the.
Sure.
Because unless you have a good design reason for it, you're just kind of doing it because that's the way it's always been done.
Right.
Play Tiefenthal and see if you feel the same way if you're designing a deck builder. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think Wolfgang just hit it though, right? That was great. Quacks is amazing.
I've never played it.
Oh, play it! It's so much fun. It's really he's a wonderful designer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd like to try it just because I like that. I mean, he did the mine too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and great experience.
Yep.
He's good at making a good, solid experience.
Yeah. Some of the most frustrating experiences in the mine, but yes, great experiences.
Aaron and I have won the 2-player one all the way to level 12.
Oh, nice.
That was rough. That was hard to do.
You see they're doing a 2-player version of the Mind? Not the Mind. The game?
I saw that. I've never played the game.
Yeah.
But I heard it was kind of similar in feel.
Sure. Like, it's a race to get through your deck, and you can play on somebody else's deck, which seems weird because I don't know. I'm sure it works wonderfully, but yeah, the 2-player version of it. I just saw a thing about it today, actually.
Cool.
Yeah.
What else have you been playing?
We've been diving into Scythe more with the Fenris. That and our own prototype that we've been working on to get the narrative to connect in certain ways. That's been eating up a lot of time, but
you haven't played Scythe digitally, have you? In Steam?
No, nope.
It's really good in Steam.
I know.
I've been kind of hoping that they put Fenris in there. I own it, but I can't get it played. So I was just like, I'll buy it again on there if I could just play it and enjoy it. Because I won't, I can't get it played because my group won't play it. Aaron will play pretty much anything with me. But it's not a great 2-player Scythe, at least in my experience.
Yeah, we're playing 3-player, and it seems...
I think 3's fun.
Yeah, but you can kind of stay away from each other on that map. It's big enough where you're not really in front of each other.
Right.
But I can see, like, if you're neighboring starting points, like, you want that star. Like, I'm gonna fight you for that star. And it doesn't seem aggressive either. It seems like it's just part of the game, which is cool.
Yeah, I like it for that reason. And also, you're a lot closer than you think you are from that map because of those mines, right?
Mines, yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll get attacked in like the virtual one. And I'm like, where did that even come from?
Mm-hmm.
I have to say, oh yeah, they could have done this and then jump for this hoop and yeah.
Yeah, getting the mine out and having the +1 speed for your getting that one mech out is pretty good. Yeah.
It's deceitful how big that map is, really.
Yeah.
But I still feel like 3 players or 4 players is best. Like you can play 7. I'm never going to play 7.
Oh no. That'd be massive.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you.
I was just looking at something else that I've played recently, but that's really it. I mean, other than the prototypes and running through Vault Wars and some other stuff.
Yeah. What about you've got Gravwell 2.0 in here? I've never played Gravwell before.
I played it once. I like the race thing, but I thought that would end up on your sci-fi games. I thought that would.
I've never played it.
Oh, I think that's why I had a question mark in it on our show notes. But I did see that they were doing a second edition of it. It was there for more of a conversation piece to see if you knew anything about it, which you don't.
No.
Yeah, it was fun. I remember having a good experience with it when I played it.
I've heard nothing but good stuff about it. I just, for whatever reason, never played it.
There you go.
It's gonna work. Every thousands of games, a bunch get past you. So,
It's true.
yeah, and you guys have a Kickstarter up right now.
Yeah.
Speaking of games,
Kickstarter, yeah.
Going past me because you just told me about that yesterday. I was like, oh yeah, like I haven't looked at Kickstarter in a month, and unfortunately, I've probably missed one or two things, but it's going right now, right? The Vault Wars.
It is. It's up for the next. It said 4 days earlier for the next 3 days after today. Just an expansion to the base game of Vault Wars.
And Vault Wars is basically like a what they call Storage Wars, but fantasy type thing.
Yep. So
bidding game.
it is. So remember you were talking about the D&D tropes earlier in the Barbarian. So the Barbarian, after fighting the dragon, decided, look, I'm taking a cruise. I'm going on a vacation, and puts all the battle gear, the armor, the weapons, the gems, all in a storage locker, and then goes on vacation, and unfortunately gets attacked on vacation and dies. So you are in charge of selling the stuff that's in the storage locker of that barbarian or that whatever that was left behind. So each vault in the base game has some kind of fun to it. But the majority of them is there's 6 treasures in the vault. Everyone at the table gets to see 2 of them. So you as the vault master will draw 6 cards, decide which 2 get looked at by everyone at the table. And then everyone else could potentially peek at another 1 or 2 or 3, depending on the vault. So everyone could see the same thing. Everyone could see something different. And then the vault master starts the bidding. So you bid, you can talk it up. The game really shines with the table talk of like, what'd you see in there? Well, yeah, this is the best vault you've ever seen. It's full of gems. One of the cards in it is junk. And it's only really, it's good for mainly 2 purposes. One lets you sell it for coin, and one is the hoarder. The hoarder wants junk. But you can bluff. There's no junk in this vault at all. It's all full of diamonds and rubies and whatever. And then start the bidding. And if you get outbid, you get the payday from the person that bids the most. And you could go around the table and bid each other and talk to each other about what they saw, what you didn't see, stuff like that.
I would have a hard time with that game, I bet. And this is why I say that, is because no one ever believes me.
Perfect.
And it's not that I'm bad at lying and stuff. It's that the people I play with know that I am. So they believe that I'm always lying. And I never really do because of the fact that they think I am. So I play these games horribly. Any kind where you're trying to bluff and stuff.
Yeah.
I can never get them to do anything. Like, I'm thinking like Sheriff of Nottingham kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Every time I play that, I do horribly. Because anytime I'm like, do you want to bribe me? And they go, nope. And nobody will ever try to get anything past me. They'll just let me look. They won't play with me, basically.
Interesting.
And it's very frustrating. It's so those kind of things, when you're like, oh, you can bluff and stuff, I wouldn't be able to bluff. It would just be, hopefully I'd get good stuff. Now, whenever I try to guess other people bluff and stuff, I do pretty well on that, but I can never do the other side of it.
So I guess you wouldn't really have to, right? You'd be limited to what was in there, and you could just flat out show the junk or show the good stuff and let it go from there.
Right, and that's what I have to do with, and I don't know if it plays like Sheriff or not, but that's what I basically have to do with Sheriff is I don't get to do the bluffing and get the extra money or anything like that. I basically have to deal with whatever I get, right?
Right.
So, I mean, the other side of that is that people won't. They always think I'm trying to trick them into looking at my bag too. So, I can kind of put in there whatever I want. So
yeah, you're getting through with the crossbow and
maybe I'm just not playing it right.
maybe.
So
the the fun thing with the expansion is it actually rewards the second highest bidder.
Huh.
Which I haven't seen in games. Yeah, so the relics, the expansion is Relic Roadshow, and the villains are now involved. So when you're done bidding, whoever wins the bid gets the treasure that was in the vault, and whoever was second highest bid gets to look at each vault has a specific number, a certain number of relics, and pick one for their own for them. So I haven't seen anything that rewards second place in that type of game before, which is
Is the relic in the storage bin, or is it just a separate deck?
It's a separate deck. It's not in the item deck. It's a separate deck. So if second place gets to look at 6 items, they take 6 from the relic deck, and then they get to pick which one they want. Hopefully it aligns with their aspiring villain who wants like dragon items or dwarven items or whatever. But yeah, it was pretty cool. It's an interesting addition to the game.
So in the bidding, does everybody have to pay what they bid, win or lose?
No, only the winner pays.
Oh, so the second place actually gets something for nothing.
Correct. They'll keep their bid, and then they get the relic. But the relic isn't. It's not an automatic victory point item either. Every relic has a cost for you to transmute it. So there might be like a dragon talon or something, and it'll still cost like 3 treasures and a gem, or 3 treasures or a gem that you have to then discard, which is you transmuting it to existence. Then it's worth something. So it's a free card, but for it to count, you got to do something else to it.
It's still not bad.
Yeah.
I mean, free card is free card, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Have you noticed that the bidding goes up higher now? Thinking that I might not get it, but I get something around second place?
Yeah. So Friday, John and Ian, who are the co-designers of the game, and myself with 2 others played a 5-player with the expansion. And I don't think I've, in any of my other games of base Vault Wars, have I ever bid $25 for a vault. And it was just because I tried to get them to loop into bidding higher. One, because if I got 3 diamonds or 3 gems and a junk, I was fine because I had something to do with it. But then if I think it was a 6 relic vault where I would have gotten to look at 6 relics, which I wanted, and I ended up paying $25, which was no way. But yeah, I don't think. I mean, it also depends on who. If people have played it before, then they kind of know like you're not gonna out the gate bid $15 because you're probably gonna get stuck with what's there. So there is a little give and take on when to bluff or when to make it look like you want to show the junk that's in there because the other stuff that they might not look at is really good for you. Or show the really good stuff to try and get your payday. Like there's an interesting give and take with when to do either one of those options. It's fun.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds fun. It sounds like the expansion adds something worthwhile to it.
It feels fresh. And plus all the vaults are straight up. There's this many items. You get to look at, like, I'll show you this many and you get to peek at some. And then there's that relic number. There isn't. In the base game, I believe every vault has some special thing, like the vault master gets to put a card in before everyone looks, or draw the 4 cards from the item deck, and then if you want, you can just draw 4 more and not look at them. Like there's always some kind of little fun gimmick to each vault, and the expansion just straight up, there's items, you're going to look at this, start your bidding. So it kind of keeps it's fresh because of the relics and the second place thing. And each villain or each player has an ability that they can trigger. Like one of mine was once per vault or once per round, I could trigger my ability and not pay for my vault. So, of course, that $25 bid, I used my ability. I kept my $25, still won the vault, but you get corruption for it. So then the corruption's worth negative points at the end. So it feels fresh, and the vaults are kind of just they're more straightforward. Yeah, it's super fun. It's so cool.
4 days?
It was 4 days today.
On Friday?
3 days tomorrow, yeah.
Oh, good luck with that.
Thank you. It's doing well. So I don't know if the glare is too much on that one.
Dungeon cell?
Yeah, so
Is that a mouse in there?
It is.
It's cute.
So the 4 is how many treasures are in the vault. I can't even see it with the glare. the treasure in the center has a 1 on it. So of the 4, I get to show you 1. But you get to peek at none. So whatever I show you is what you see, and then you're bidding on what you think is in the other one. Whereas that one, there's 6. Wow, you really can't see that, can you?
Yeah, I can see it.
So there's 6 items in there. I'll show you 2, and then you get to peek at 2 of the 4 that remain.
Okay. Huh.
So they're fun.
Who did the art?
Jackie Davis.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I really like her style.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
I didn't really think that, are there pictures of people?
Yeah.
I didn't really recognize her style with just the buildings and the mouse. Oh. Okay, yeah. Now I can see. Yeah, the people, the faces, and how she draws those. I can see that style. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, it's fun.
Actually, contacted her once for doing some artwork for a game I was working on, but the game kind of fell through. So it'd be nice to work with her sometime.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah. All right. So we have gone an hour and 20 minutes.
But we're not going any farther until you talk about your Kickstarter.
But I don't have a Kickstarter, but I mean, friends of mine Kickstarter the Ragnarocks by Grey Fox Games is coming out tomorrow. It's done by the Gordon Hamilton, the same designer for Santorini. So we expect to do pretty well. Have you played Santorini?
Yeah, I have the New York version. I'm waiting to play, but Santorini is I love it.
I have Santorini too. Actually, I've only played it on Tabletop Simulator, and it's on there now. Anybody can play it. But so basically, you have like 3 guys, and the other person has 3 guys, and you move one of your Vikings. You move one of your Vikings in like a hex board. You move one of them as far as you want in any one direction, kind of like queen on a chessboard, right?
Right.
And then from that Viking, anywhere in the same way of moving, you take a rune stone and you block off a space. Very simple movement. And you can't be interrupted. Like if you run into a rune stone, you have to stop, kind of thing. And basically you keep doing that until all of the Vikings on both sides are blocked off. And then however many spaces are in your little blocked off space is how many points you get. So you're trying to block off the other people while they're trying to block you off, right? It's like a 15-minute play, and it's like you go, okay, move, and then suddenly you're in this strategic space, mind space that you're like, oh man, like the first move you make, you start seeing all the branches of the way things could go, and you go, oh no, this is like way more strategic than I thought it was, right? And then on top of that basic game, they have, I think they're starting off with 16, but they'll probably have, I mean, I know they will because I've seen them. They have tons and tons more of myth cards, which are like, you know, like I could be Odin and you could be Thor, or I could be, I can't say half of them because of, you know, the Viking titles and stuff, but sure. You know, whatever their names are, a big snake thing or crows or hugging, mugging, whatever. They all have their little names, but they all have a power. So like one I played on Tabletop Simulator was like, if you place your stone next to your guy, you can place another one immediately.
Oh, cool.
And then the other person was playing a power where they could switch spaces with one of my Vikings if they were next to me. So I moved up, I put up 2 of them, and then he moved up, put up another one, and then switched spaces. And suddenly I was in the little jail cell I'd started creating for them. So every time you play, you can play with those different powers, and it makes it a completely different game every time.
That's cool.
So yeah, and not only that, but like I just taught the game. Like that's the game. It took that quick to teach, and then you get like a strategic game that's different every time you play. So I think it's going to do really well.
Good. I hope so. I got the newsletter from Lance. Signed up for those. 2 free cards or 2 bonus cards that you get for signing up?
Yeah, they're going to offer those for $3 if you missed it on the newsletter and stuff. But it's nice to if you're getting newsletters and stuff that you get to be one of those people, right?
Sure, so, yeah.
It's a nice thing.
Cool. Speaking of, you reminded me of Viking names that you can't pronounce. I did play this. I don't know if you can see it.
Hennefatafel.
Sure.
Hennefatafel.
Yep.
Viking.
It's Viking chess.
Yeah, Viking chess.
Yeah. Have you ever played it?
No.
Oh, it's great. It's one of those things where, like, after your first, the same thing you just said, after your first move, you're like, oh, okay. And then your second move, you're like, wait a minute, this is a thing. It's really cool. I saw it.
Is it 4-player?
It's 2-player.
Okay, it looked like it was 4 from the back of the board that you showed.
So in the center of the board is the king and all the defenders. And on all 4 sides of the board are the attackers.
Oh, so it's like a tower defense thing.
Kind of. Kind of. On your turn, you can move any pawn as far as they can in one direction. No diagonal, right? So just straight up orthogonal movement. If at any point you sandwich an opposing player's piece, you take it off the board. If you're the attacker, you want to sandwich the king. And if you're the king, you want to get to one of the 4 corners of the board.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So if they flank you on it, like it has to be opposite ends, it can't be like this side and this side?
Correct.
Huh.
And you can't use the edge of the board as part of it unless you're in the corner, because the 4 corners can only be used by the king. So that kind of is a wall. And if this is the corner and you can get here, then yes. But you can't use the edge of the board as part of that sandwich.
You think it's easier to play the attacker or defender?
So I've only played it as the king. And Wednesday I'll be playing it as the attacker. And initially it looked like it was easier to play as the king, because all the king has to do is set themselves up for a straight shot and a straight shot to get to the corner. So if you're the defender or the attacker, you're trying to like make sure that doesn't happen. So I played it with Keith, the co-designer of the game design course I was talking to you about. And immediately after we were talking about it, I was like, well, this is what you got to do with this. And that's how you got to, I wonder what it would do to, like, you're re-strategizing for the next game immediately.
Right. Yeah, I know. Right after I got done playing Ragnarocks, I was like, let's play again. Mm-hmm. Even though I actually won that one, but then I lost the second one. So I got in my head too much, I guess. But the second one, we got powers. I wasn't prepared for doing those powers. But, like, it's those kind of games are always fun to get into, where you think, oh, this is real simple, and then like 1 or 2 moves in, you're like, okay, I'm starting to see the picture, in that moment. Yeah,
I think it connected with me from a Mr. Jack perspective, right? Because you're either playing Mr. Jack or you're playing the police,
right?
And then playing the opposite side is going to have a totally different feel to it, and I feel like it's just going to have the same.
You mean Mr. Jack, or are you talking about Letters of Whitehall?
No, Mr. Jack.
Because Letters of Whitehall is where you have the hidden movement Jack with the 4 police, right?
Yeah, same with Dracula, right?
Mr. Jack is the one where I'm thinking of the pocket one. That's a little different.
Sure, same concept though, right? Someone's playing Jack, someone's playing the police, and you're trying to flip the cards over. Yeah, yep.
I don't think they play the full Mr. Jack, just the pocket one.
Oh, it's great.
Huh.
It's great. And the one that's Phantom of the Opera.
I haven't played that one.
Oh, it's the same concept where you're the Phantom or the impersonator, and you're the other people in the opera house, and they have like trap doors and stuff to get from room to room. Like it plays the same feeling as Mr. Jack. It just seemed like a fresh version of it.
The big chandelier come crashing down on the table when you play.
It actually comes with a chandelier.
Really?
No.
I might have to get it if it came with a chandelier.
It's exclusive. They don't have them anymore.
All right. Well, if we end the thing here, then it'll be respectful. It won't be an hour, but hour and a half is respectful, and
sure,
we can still talk in the Discord afterwards. So I think we have a good episode to end at this point.
I didn't get to talk about the components in Cloud Age, though, but that's okay. I could talk about it another time. We'll talk about components in another episode.
You know what? I didn't get to complain about Sleeping Gods.
That's true.
Maybe we'll save that nice complaint next time.
We'll talk about components in games next time.
Well, yeah. See, I want to continue, but we got to stop. All right. Going forever.
No,
right.
we'll take it over to Discord and play over there.
And maybe we'll talk about it next episode.
Sure.
Great.
Cool. Always fun. I'm glad that you're okay. Everybody over there is okay. And that couldn't have been easy. I know I posted a couple things that were kind of fun with you naked running through the snow. Yeah. But yeah, I'm glad everything's okay over there.
The humor is appreciated when you're going through stuff like that. Yeah. Texas is recovering. Like I said to you earlier, 75 degrees outside. It's crazy. It was like 3 days before that, you know?
Yeah.
So it's insane what can happen, but we're getting there. We're recovering. I hope we'll have water by the time this episode's over.
Hoping for you.
We'll see.
Cool.
All right. Well, thanks for watching, everybody.
Yeah. Subscribe, get on the Discord, look at our Facebook group, do all the fun stuff.
Oh yeah. I always forget to tell people to do that. Please subscribe, hit the bells, hit the thumbs up, hit the thumbs down. Either way, it's good for us.
Yeah. Let us know you're watching.
Yeah.
Cool. It's been a pleasure.
Come on next time and talk to us during the. I totally forgot to have the chat up. Talk to us during the chat.
Yep. I've been checking it just in case, because I know last time we kind of missed the opportunity to talk to Evan, which would have been cool.
Yeah, we were totally talking about his games, and we missed the opportunity to actually talk to the designer. So
yep.
We'll learn. We're still learning. Why do I feel like we're going to be saying that like 20 episodes from now? Still learning.
Well, as an educator, right, I think we should always be learning.
Good cop out. I like it. Let's end on that.
Okay, perfect.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Talk to you guys soon. See you on the Discord.